central Arizona. The Apache Sitgreaves National Forest, November 5th, 1975. At 6:30 p.m., a bright light suddenly appears in the sky over the central Arizona mountains. 6 U.S. Forest Service workers driving home after their day shift witness a large silvery disk hovering in the sky.
It was smooth as glass, but glowing and reflective at the same time. It just had a powerful look and feel to it that was just amazing. This beam of energy hit me. I felt like I'd been hit real suddenly, like a physical blow, but with a sort of a tingling electric shock sort of feeling at the same time.
Walton basically got zapped by this blinding light. The crew just hot-footed out the area quickly, then thought, well, we've got to go back, we've got to get Travis. Went back, whatever this object was gone, and he was gone as well.
According to Travis Walton, the mysterious beam of light rendered him unconscious. And when he awoke, he found himself in a room surrounded by strange beings.
I was looking straight into the face of this creature. These small beings were humanoid, but so unhuman, it's just terrifying. And I just flipped out. It was just horrible. It was like they were looking right into me.
Crews searched everywhere for the missing forest worker. But it wasn't until 5 days later that Walton reappeared in a nearby town.
I was lying face down, outside in the dark, and there was a light above me. And I saw the bottom of the craft there right before it shot up into the sky.
Stories of alien encounters, abductions to different realms, are as old as mankind itself. Something truly enigmatic has been happening with us and with our ancestors. And when you look at the modern accounts of abductions, you find that they are one and the same.
Washington, D.C., December 1969. The United States government suddenly terminates Project Blue Book, the Air Force investigation into claims of UFO sightings and contact with extraterrestrials. Though more than 12,000 reports were investigated over a span of 20 years, the government publicly concluded that most cases were misunderstood natural phenomena. But inside the organization, Project Blue Book astronomer J. Allen Hynek had been creating a system of classifying the data he believed provided scientific evidence of alien encounters.
Hynek was actively in charge of some of the investigations. And he realized early on, after amassing so many cases and having a database, that he needed to organize it and classify these types of reports. So he came up with the Close Encounter 1 through 3 classification.
According to Hynek's classification system, a close encounter of the first kind, or CE1, is described as witnessing a UFO within 500 feet. CE2 is when a UFO leaves behind a physical trace of its presence, and CE3 includes seeing occupants within the UFO.
Dr. J. Allen Hynek invented these 3 terms, which basically detailed the distance of the person from the UFO and the nature of the experience. And it was basically designed as terms so that, we would have a good understanding of whether somebody saw an object at a distance in the sky, further close up, a UFO on the ground.
Close encounters of the fourth kind is that the occupants of this craft took the observer aboard and either did some type of experimental procedure on them or implanted them with them. And then close encounters of the fifth kind is people that are having some type of telepathic communication with the occupants of a craft, or ET per se.
Baltimore, Maryland, November 9th, 2018. Thousands gather at the Baltimore Convention Center for AlienCon, a 3-day event dedicated to exploring the possibility that life not only exists on other planets, but that intelligent beings have been visiting the Earth for thousands of years.
I would like to ask this audience at this AlienCon, how many of you have had missing time, an abduction experience, have encountered perhaps an entity in your room, or you have seen some kind of lights, craft that have left you with a feeling that you were seeing or experiencing something that was not human and fits into this category? How many?
Wow, that is an impressive show of hands. That's staggering.
The large numbers of allegedly abducted people in the audience stuns the panel. Equally impressive is the credibility of the stories.
Let me just say I'm a very logical person. He looked at me, he tipped his head down and he looked up. At that moment, his eyes went black, his nose started to turn almost beak-like, and I couldn't break the gaze.
I've had beings walk through the wall. I'm Rh negative, green-eyed. I do have some missing time.
We wake up and we're not in our bedroom anymore. We're laying on tables.
They pulled me up on the ship. They did surgery on me.
I had no idea of what they were doing. And I later found may have been extracting sperm.
But if alien abductions are really happening, what is their purpose? Are extraterrestrials simply examining the human species? Or is there another, even more profound agenda?
The reptilian who visits me on a regular basis. Apparently he realized I was infertile and he backed away.
As I began to do more and more deep research, eventually you come out at another layer. What are we? What are Homo sapiens sapien really? And then you get to my perspective today. The harvest of genetic material from this planet. And so one of our greatest questions is who walks around on our planet, looks human, but is not?
Could human abductions be part of a greater effort by extraterrestrials to hybridize the human species with alien DNA? Many ancient astronaut theorists insist that such an audacious notion is not only likely, but that evidence of it can be documented by means of regression therapy. Barbara Lamb has conducted nearly 2,000 regressions on people who believe they have been abducted by extraterrestrial beings. Most recently, she has been studying the case of California native Robert Fullington, who has, under hypnosis, revealed details of his numerous encounters with extraterrestrials over the course of the past 10 years.
I came to know hybrids 7 years ago, and since then, I've been conducting long interviews and have been doing regressions with them. And out of all that material, I have become convinced that they are indeed ET human hybrids living here on Earth.
I was 215 pounds, and I went down to 115 pounds. And doctors had no idea what was going on with me. I was starting to have experience with ETs. It's things like going to sleep and then becoming aware that something's happening. It's these little tiny blips of real clear ET interactions, and I have no idea what's going on.
A wonderful thing is that our subconscious part of our minds records everything that happens to us, even those things that we have not been consciously aware of.
On June 6, 2019, Barbara conducted another regression session with Robert.
Okay, nice and comfortable now.
In an effort to find out not only why he had been abducted, but also the specific way in which he might have been genetically altered.
So now we're going to go into a nice state of deep relaxation. More and more deep, more and more relaxed.
People are laying in lines and they're working on people. Like, I'm last in line to be worked on.
Now, are these people in line, are they lying down? Or
Yeah, it's like a bunch of tables in a row. I feel like there's something inserting into my stomach. They're extracting something. It's like they're collecting DNA from different people.
In the regression, it turned out that one extraterrestrial actually made an incision and took out DNA. Now that is something that has come across through my work. Some of them seem to be very scientific, and they want to understand how human bodies work and what our physiology is like. In many of the regressions I have done, it turns out that the ETs are creating hybrids for their own purposes.
Boston, Massachusetts, October 25th, 1965. A local newspaper known as the Boston Traveler runs a front-page story about the alleged alien abduction of New Hampshire residents Betty and Barney Hill. In the more than 5 decades since this now famous incident, thousands of others have come forward with similar reports of being abducted by extraterrestrials.
What's particularly notable is the fact that during alien abductions, people talk about DNA taken from their bodies and essentially experimented on by these strange, short, black-eyed entities that have become known as the Greys.
As far as ancient astronaut theorists are concerned, an equally chilling aspect of these reported alien abductions is the role that human blood and blood type seems to play in determining which human subjects become the targets of experimentation. New York, New York, 1940. At the Rockefeller Institute, Nobel Prize-winning scientist Carl Landsteiner makes yet another groundbreaking finding in his work surrounding human blood types. Landsteiner discovers the Rh factor, a type of protein or antigen on the surface of red blood cells, setting the scientific world afire.
One of the things about human blood types is we have an Rh, either positive or negative blood type. And it simply has to do with a particular antibody on the outside of our red blood cells. If you have it, you're positive, and if you don't, you're negative.
Landsteiner was the first person to identify the original A, B, and O blood groups. But his latest discovery ignites a much more fascinating mystery underlying the nature of human blood.
One of the most intriguing aspects of the Rh negative versus Rh positive is that science really does not have a specific answer as to why some people should be negative and why other people should be positive.
Just like any virus or bacteria or disease, if you mix these blood types, you can get interesting effects. If you're Rh negative and you get Rh positive blood, the red blood cells look different. They look like an invading bacteria or virus, and your immune system will react to that. And that can lead to various diseases and problems.
When you're in a situation where you have a pregnant woman who is Rh negative and the father is Rh positive, what we find is that the pregnant woman's immune system quite literally views the growing fetus as something alien, no pun intended. In that situation, medicine is provided to ensure that the fetus grows healthy.
How and why the Rh-negative blood type developed remains a mystery to scientists. And while the blood type is rare, there appears to be a disproportionately high occurrence of Rh-negative individuals among one particular group of people, those who claim to have been abducted by aliens.
I don't think anybody would be able to stand behind a number and firmly know, but maybe 3, maybe even some 4 out of 10 people that you would interview in the abduction syndrome would say, I'm Rh negative.
The Selma Plateau, Oman. 100 kilometers from the capital city of Muscat. A treacherous cavern lies deep beneath the Earth's surface. Discovered in June of 1983, this massive underground chamber is known as Majli al-Jinn, translated as meeting place of the jinn. It is one of the largest caves in the world.
The jinn is like an Arabic fairy. The genie in the bottle of Aladdin and his lamp. The jinn can come out of the bottle and grant you 3 wishes, but those wishes might not turn out the way that you hoped that they would.
In Arab and Islamic traditions, these were a set of beings that were made by God, and in some ways they're sort of intermediate between humans and angels. Could they represent a being from another realm of the universe that we're not used to? We just don't know.
According to descriptions in the Quran, the jinn are supernatural entities from another dimension that can appear and disappear at will. They are variously described as being both benevolent and malevolent to humans, and often reveal themselves with messages, which can be either good or evil.
Mystical literature from all over the world has accounts of visitations from magical creatures, angels, gods, what have you. Moses talked to a burning bush. Jacob had angels coming down a ladder. So we have tales from our familiar culture and from many others of some kind of supernatural creatures that interact and interfere, that represent some powers beyond our understanding.
Spirit beings with sinister motives can also be found in recorded history dating as far back as 2400 BC. The Sumerian King List, a manuscript believed to be over 4,000 years old, describes a demon named Lilu, a spirit that seduces women in their sleep. Depictions of supernatural beings, also known as incubus, and a female counterpart, succubus, exist in the folklore of various cultures. In each account, incubus and succubus can paralyze their victims before having sex with them.
A female entity would come and have its way with a male victim. That would be the succubus, and incubus would be a male version of this. Being unable to breathe, feeling like you're frozen. These are very, very similar things that happen to people in modern abduction phenomenon.
These stories basically are about how these malignant entities somehow come to people in their sleep at nighttime. And it is said that they have sexual intercourse with these beings.
From time to time, they made a landing, and they simply captured nice-looking girls, sometimes nice-looking men, captured them and take them away. Sometimes these extraterrestrials had sex with some of our humans, so you have an offspring. And the offspring still has part of the blood of the extraterrestrial.
But might the legends of jinn, incubus, and succubus be describing not demons, but alien visitors. Beings with the ability to seduce and psychically abduct humans. Ancient astronaut theorists believe that throughout history, humans have documented numerous otherworldly communications, both voluntary and involuntary.
Human beings have been having similar kinds of experiences all along. According to some folklorists, the experience of missing time, of having contact with non-human humanoids, is the same. It is historically consistent whether people are describing it as being taken by the fairies or whether people are describing being taken by UFO aliens.